All right. Welcome back, my friends, to the podcast that never ends. This is your podcast, Arena of Ideas. I'm the host creator, Mike Kingston. All right. Again, your podcast. I'm starting out new, differently, and everything else. And as things grow, so will this podcast, Arena of Ideas. All right. Platforms you can find it on: Google, iHeart, Spotify, Spreaker. Shout out to those guys. A big shout out. Without those guys, I didn't have this opportunity at all. All right. So anyway, and there's actually more places you can actually find it. There's like 12 places, even YouTube including, and everything else. But without Spreaker, Speaker with an R, which is a podcast platform for iHeartRadio, you're not going to hear me on this microphone. You're not going to know about anything called an Arena of Ideas or anything else in the process. It's just, it's been a great opportunity, and it's been a minute since I've been back on the microphone doing this. It's been a heavy situation dealing with, this episode and everything else. Anyway, moving on, the ways you can answer back. Okay. You can tell me word of mouth. You can text me on my phone number, which is published there. You've also got Mike Kingston 723 at yahoo.com. You've also got that as well. All right. Man, before I jump into the rest of this open, I just want to tell everybody, it's a tough road and everything else, and people have your lives and everything else, and you try to do what you can do to get out as much as you can when it comes to content and conversation, and you try to get new episodes out every week or 2 weeks or whatever you can do. But sometimes life gets in the way, and you just do the very best you can do. Now I'm going to get back into this open, and we're going to get this rocking and rolling. All right, thank you. So, this is the experiment at the crossroads between content and conversation reinvented. It's a podcast for anything, everything, all things to everyone. This is your place to be, the triad of talk, the forum of focus, right? But also, in turn, we do things, we try to be straight fire, no holds barred, off the cuff, shoot from the hip, wake up call. Those spontaneous questions are allowed as well. They totally are. Okay. Right. Epic fail, social mania, nothing's out of bounds, gloves are off. Step your game up. Oh, by the way, give me an A or give me an F. Again, those are just thoughts and ideas and, provocative things you want to get into or you want to discuss, or ways in which to have an attitude. And while you're listening to this podcast, it doesn't really matter. What matters is you guys. I love this. I am the conduit of content, the voice of the people, for the people, by the people. This is an all-information podcast wielding truth, humor, wit, sarcasm, freedom, like a verbal weapon, right? I'm a man, a message, and a microphone. If you're screaming at the TV, the radio, or the sky, or in your head over the BS out there, this is your place to be. Just trying to live my best life here. Let's get this candle started. And how do we get the candle started? If you've heard any one of the other 38 episodes I've done, last one being Music Tourette's, which Ari, thanks again for that opportunity. Rants, raves, beefs, issues, pet peeves. If you're OCD, all are accepted here. The hows, whys, LOL, ROL, ROFL, WTF. Are you kidding me? Are you killing me? Whatever gets you going early in the morning or keeps you up way late at night, this is your place to be. AOI is here. All right, so where the talking heads of radio personalities give you lip service about whatever, right? On TV and radio and stuff like that. The AOI podcast is real service in real time for you. Because, again, you guys all out there matter. And this whole thing wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for all of you out there, because you're the motivation and the real reason why I started doing this to begin with. And I'll continue to do this because ideas never stop, thoughts never cease, and everything else that everyone wants to talk about, guess what? It's there for us all. It truly is. All right. So my disclaimer, and basically I'm going to add a little bit to this because of the nature and the graphic nature. I mean, I'm not going to be doing any cussing or anything, but due to the graphic nature of the 39th episode, which is episode 39 of the Arena of Ideas podcast is Human Currency Bankrupting Mankind. And because of that nature of the human trafficking, organ harvesting, and everything else, I'm just going to say a little bit of this content is graphic in nature, and it may be, not suitable for very, very young children. Though young children in this episode are affected and involved, to be honest, I don't know. Really, really young children, I don't know if they're going to be prepared to listen to this. So I'm just putting it's graphic in nature and the content. So be careful with that. Anyway, the views and opinions expressed in this and all Arena of Ideas podcast episodes are that of the host and guest, not to be taken out of context, misrepresented by any means possible. All right, I got to throw that out there. Man, it feels good behind this mic. I love it. Mic on the mic, some people have told me. LOL. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take obviously that for A block is the main block, and it's going to be again episode 39, Human Currency Bankrupting Mankind. I'm going to break away with some music right now, and then we're going to come right back and get in and delve deep into this highly anticipated, very highly. In fact, a lot of people have been standing by to stand by, have waited. Some are even in the process of listening to every episode and are waiting for this one to come out, the next opportunity to listen. So, without further ado, what we're going to do right now is give me some bumper music, and we'll get it right into episode 39, Arena of Ideas podcast, Human Currency Bankrupting Mankind. All right. You guys, we'll be right back in a moment with the new episode 39. We'll be right back. All right. I'm back. Welcome back. Okay. Again, it's been a minute since I've done this. It's been actually a good long grip of time. And I want to, my whole mission is to get all the content I can out, get all the episodes I can out, but also do them in a very quality and solid manner, a way in which that I can meet both time restraints and everything else when it comes to between and building my catalog of episodes, but then also, life and everything else, and then working on more and more topics of discussion, which I've got a ton of them written down and ready to go, kind of locked in the chamber like a bullet, if you will. All right. So again, episode 39, Human Currency Bankrupting Mankind is the episode. I want to thank all of you, and first and foremost, before I start I have an open letter here for this to begin with. It's such an important issue of discussion. It's something that needs to get out there. Human trafficking has been such a heinous and horrible situation, and something that we've all had to come to grips with. And it's been running rampant ever since the borders have been truly open like a floodgate It's been a very, very horrible situation that we've all had to endure and come to grips with. It's just, it's been taking off like steroids, and it's been happening. And everywhere, it doesn't, everyone says, well, it's not my problem. It's not me. It doesn't affect me. Well, this is into the stratosphere of affecting everyone, and it's everyone, anyone, and all things. And again, with this episode, if I'm able to affect one person and help one person with all this information, or save someone's life because they listened to this podcast episode, or someone else did, and then took the information, because again, all my episodes are an awareness exercise, right? So if I am able to save one person, or help one person, or do anything else with any of my episodes, again, I just love, and I just appreciate the fact that if it does, then I've done my job. I've done really what I've decided to do when it came to doing this podcast. Okay, so I'm going to start with the open letter, and we'll go from there. And then I've got facts, figures, and everything else. And then I've got some other things along the way here I'm going to be dealing with when it comes to, adders on this podcast. I've got, of course, the Comedy Corner. I've got some shout outs, props, and plugs. I've also got an announcement that I had I went to a wedding and everything else for a very lovely and wonderful couple that it's kind of personal to me. And that's going to go out there too. I've also got a plug for DJ Shield. I'm going to be giving a shout out to a wonderful sandwich shop. I can't mention the sandwich shop. It's here in Pueblo, Colorado, because I'm, of course, here out of Pueblo, Colorado. Anyway, we'll get into all these things, but right now we're going to dive into the human currency bankrupting mankind, which is this episode with my open letter. We'll get rolling on that. And we'll just continue to keep going, and we'll get this on. And it's been tugging at my heartstrings. It's been a number of weeks where I've been wanting to get this out and get this going. And it's just been tough, but I'm compelled. I need to get this information out. We need to make it as important as Sound of Freedom, Jim Caviezel's movie that I went out and saw, and it was awe-inspiring and touching and heartfelt and sad, and so many different range of emotions that really kind of drove the hinge pin, if you will, into putting this together. So let me get the open letter going. We'll get the rest of the information going, and then we'll get the rest of this podcast going. Thank you again. All right. So basically, it was actually called Human Trafficking and the Horrible Use of Human Currency. And then I just kind of tightened it up. Basically, what's happening is they're using everyone up for the actual human trafficking part, the plasma, the blood, organs, and anything else they can do to take from a person in order to sell and to perpetuate that entire market that's going on, where people are making in the billions of dollars. So basically, that's it. All right. So to those who have had to put their lives on the line for financial gain at the ultimate cost and suffrage, innocence lost at the hands of pure evil, I wish the cries, screams, pleas, and other tortures would ring out and echo. Again, this is my open letter for this episode. Into the heart, mind, body, and soul of the hierarchy of this mind, body, and soul, of the mind, body, and soul. The hierarchy of this mind-numbing and life-stealing empire who snatched the world's most vulnerable victims. Sadly, this crime does not have the following to use as a metrics, a algorithm, profiling tool, race, age, creed, color, to be able to explain the billion-dollar industry and the fall of the industry of the fall of fellow man. from the cartels, coyotes, corruption, caskets, victims are placed in control and power, and other atrocities, horrendous and heinous acts against the human race, completely. Above all, the ones that have been abused, battered, beaten, crushed, and destroyed. They can't, I repeat, they cannot come back to speak out, reach out, or even survive, because they are what? They're extinguished, exiled, and dead. This, as in all of my episodes, is a awareness exercise to bring out what needs to be written, spoken, and stopped once and for all. The worst of the worst, throwing communication and technology, and you have a powder keg looking for a torch to ignite it. Sadly, in 2023 and beyond, look to be record years for human currency and the end of innocence lost. Please, by all means, listen to this episode and tell others. This is a warning, a must listen, not to help me grow my podcast. No, by no means. Tell your family and friends and even complete strangers, because if by hearing it possible for everyone, for even one life, one precious soul to be spared, it's so worth it. It is. That's my open letter for this and the discussion. All right. So I know it's a tough subject matter. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's personal. It's on a level of epidemic and global proportions happening everywhere. And like I said, it's just my concern is for this not to happen. Obviously, you don't want anything to happen to anybody. You don't wish anything on your best friends, your worst enemy, or anyone. But this is taking out people by the droves, and you know, there's nowhere to hide and there's nothing else, because basically it's a situation that you could be in it, you could know people that have been in it or anything else, and it's still the worst heinous exploitation of people that there is out there. And it's just crazy what they're doing in this process. Like I said, I'm going to be getting into some facts, figures, and definitions of some things, and then just throwing out some more information at you. Again, this is a heavy subject matter. It may not be suitable for all ages, graphic in some nature, and it might, be a little scary for younger listeners. So please be mindful of that when it comes to this episode. The cycle of human trafficking victims are recruited, transported, exploited, basically by a coyote, right? A coyote is a person who smuggles people across a border, either by force or by choice, paying to enter, basically. Cyber traffickers, a growing problem due to the rate at which technology plays and preys on every age, gender, race, creed, color, essentially everyone who enters a place or has a phone to conduct business or pleasure surfing. Traffickers know the role that this plays with the process of extraction of all victims in all of the listed activities I just did. A harvesting and trafficking using chat rooms and websites to lure, sell, and reduce every individual to being a bargaining chip, a pawn, if you will, not a human life where life makes sense and everyone has self-worth. Right? Because at first everybody has your own identities and everything else. Well, these guys using technology and everything else, they use all that stuff in a cyber way to get people lured in, sounding like too good, ideas that are too good to be true, or money or fame or fortune or who knows what. But they know that if they can get you lured in, they have a chance to abduct you, take you, and use you for some of the worst things ever on the planet. Horrible, heinous, again, terrible. So cartels, drug cartels, Many times traffic women and children to smuggle drugs across the border on a daily basis. And the value they can make of a premium for the heads of human lives. Addiction plays a major part and powerful tool human traffickers use to coerce, manipulate, and exploit victims by simply creating or perpetrating a dependency on opioids and acting as a means for continued access for the traffickers in a very vicious cycle where the captors use a system of victims must basically have to work off their debt over time, and they'll be released, promised false hope. We're talking about you being used as sex slaves and all those basically sex slaves, and also in sex slaves, and then people that are enslaved to have to work for people and have to work and being held captive by these traffickers. And then, like I said, they have to either work it off with the sex trade or work it off by being enslaved and working for somebody to work it off to get released. They think in their head they're getting released, which is sad. How traffickers dispose horribly of bodies by shooting in the head victims who are no longer useful. Again, shooting in the head. And I'll explain why. Useful alive, so to show others fear, and to kill they put a bullet in the head to preserve the organs to save for future money. So what they'll do is they'll bully people by using a gun and killing one of them, and they can use it as a fear and scare tactic to keep you there and keep you with them, even though they're doing these horrible things. They're making you want to have to depend on them, thinking that they're the answer for everything. And that's against your will, obviously, but sad. All right, a little bit more, and then I'll get into some facts and figures and some food for thought and ideas, and some other little things that we need to look out for, such as phone numbers, websites, and other things that could be important in the process of trying to help somebody. All right, so organ harvesting and human trafficking. Forced organ harvesting is removing a victim's organs against their will. So usually after the victims are used up, exploited, and deemed no longer needed in the roles as sex and labor, enslaved against their will, mentally, physically, and emotionally wrecked. Wouldn't you be, though? I mean, you're held hostage and captive and all these things. The anguish continues in the name of not letting their victims, prisoners, go to waste. So taking of the organs and bodily fluids aren't out of the question question ever. Remember, it's a business. Those at the hands of the rings see them as dollar signs, right? Not humans, right? Not human lives in existence. With a life name and the will to be a visible person in society. They don't see all that. Those guys just see dollar signs and the billions of dollars every year. An end to a means route, really, with the captors building up a trust, a false sense of security, and promises of being released, quid pro quo, favor for a favor. So that they let you believe that you can do this thing. You do so many acts of sex or whatever's going on, or you work so many hours off, and then you'll be let go. And they just make you believe all this, and they just keep dangling a carrot in front of you and making you believe that this is possible. Well, it's freaking not, and it's sad. And like I said, pushing that movie, but I've got another list for you. But Sound of Freedom was huge. It was heavy. And again, Jim Caviezel doesn't get behind any projects unless it matters. Okay, so back to it. All right, so style after doing their bidding, getting their expectations a contract met will be free to go. So once they get you all going, they get you a contract thinking you're going to be free to go. You know, this always ends badly and at the expense of those being held against their will. So please, I beg all listening. Yes, this is an awareness of a epidemic problem, and no one can be completely safe yet if you can arm yourself or others within earshot of your voice or of this podcast and champion this problem by the following: websites for guidance, hotlines to call, law enforcement. See something, say something. If you do, don't feel like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, whatever's going on. Please do, say it. Say something, please, by all means. We need it. To the body count escalating of global proportions, right? It's just, oh man, this is just, it's sad, it's horrible. And not gonna lie, of course, the mainstream media and everybody else, the the different news companies, and you've got print media, which is newspapers and magazines. You've got TV, radio. You got all these different things that all say that they really care about the situation that's going on in people's lives. I mean, we have other things going on like wars overseas and everything else, but this was talked about, maybe spoken in a snippet of maybe a week or so, because again, the movie came out, Sound of Freedom, which was just horrible, but it needs to get out there. But like I said, they just did a snippet of time, not really long enough to really get into this. And I started kind of getting, it tugs at my heartstrings and everything else. And I just want to make sure that, people get out there and can be on record to where people can listen to this. Other people can let other people listen. Again, it's not to build my podcast. Yes, that's great and all that people can listen and stuff. And you can, go to wherever you can go. And I really didn't say this in the open, but go where you can go. You can hit follow. You can, first of all, click to wherever iHeart, Google, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and the other places you can listen. Follow, subscribe, or do whatever you can do to listen, and it helps me. But the big thing is play this back for a loved one or somebody else and in protection and also awareness, and then also to save a life or something else. It's not, it's important that this gets out there, and that's why podcasts are great. And that's why, I'm trying to make this bigger than life and all things in life, and mattering because you matter and everybody else matters. And that's why I'm doing this. And that's why it's such a precedence at what I'm doing. All right. So, some more notes and things, and, some facts and figures, and, some statistics and things. I mean, I'm not a big statistics guy, but it's important to let people know what we're up against, what they're up against, and what the world is up against. It's not just a community. It's not just a state. It's not just a country. It's everyone, everywhere, and this really matters. So please, again, by all means, let people listen. You listen, let other people listen, or even direct them how to get to even this, or even a website or whatever I'm going to be mentioning. Okay? Thank you. So, I already defined trafficking. And anyway, it's deal or trade in something illegal: drug, human, organ, body, fluids, children, sex, child labor, forced, debt bondage, which is kind of self-explanatory, forced marriage, commercial sexual exploitation of children, sexual slavery, involuntary servitude, consent, child sex tourism, domestic worker labor, and so on. Now, here we go. Cases in 2018 were 10,949 cases, highest since 2007, when the national hotline of trafficking started in 2007. Okay. Every year globally, estimated 600,000 to 800,000 men, women, and children are trafficked across international borders. 24.9 million include sexual and forced labor. Okay. All right. So there is a place called the Human Trafficking Institute, Department of Justice, Government, www.justice.gov. There's also a National Human Trafficking Hotline. I'm going to repeat this 3 times to make sure it gets out there. Again, if anything, you see something, say something, you know what's going on, anything else that's happening, look, you need to make sure you involve yourself with either a website, a phone number, or seek local law enforcement, seek whoever you can seek to help you in this process. All right, so the hotline number is 1-888-373-7888. Again, Human Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-7888. Hotline again, 888-373-7888. All right? Human Trafficking Awareness color is blue. If you see people, now again, there's the stripe of blue, and that's for the police, okay? That's for honoring the police. But now the awareness color itself, you'll see it embodied in with the color blue in different things. All right. Now these are the 5 red flags. Now be listening here. Note this, guys. Write these down if you want to, or do whatever, or look them up yourself. But 5 red flags to help signs of trafficking, right? Okay. So it's A, fearful, B, submissive, C, tense or paranoid, person defenders to another person before giving information. D, person has physical injuries or branding such as name tattoos on face or chest, tattoos about sex, money, or pimp phrases. Clothing is also sexual or inappropriate for weather, meaning that they're wearing short everything and it's freaking freezing outside. Okay, so again, 5 red flags to help the signs of trafficking. A, the people are fearful. They're looking around. They don't know what to do. They're submissive. They're just like docile, and they're sitting like shaking in the corner or something, right? Tense or paranoid. They just keep looking around like their head's on a swivel going 100 miles an hour, right? Person defends to another person before giving information. All right. Person has physical injuries or branding such as name tattoos on face or chest. Okay. So anyway, tattoos about money, sex, or pimp phrases. Clothing is sexual or inappropriate for weather, right, guys? Again, there's your 5 red flags. There's probably more than that. I'm just going over the information and research I did over this lengthy period of time, wanting to make sure I got this out there and everything else. So, human trafficking indicators, right? Multiple people cramped in spaces, cannot speak to anyone in spaces, scripted. Things are scripted and rehearsed, right? Employer is holding identity and documents, meaning they're holding it against you, and they will not allow that information out there. Again, that's horrible. All right. Note, color blue, color against human trafficking, blue heart symbol of International Day Against Human Trafficking. So a blue heart is dealing with the human trafficking situation. And so, like I said, those are some important things for you, right? Right. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into a little bit more bumper music. It's a lot to cover, and I want to make sure that we're all fresh and we're keen on this information, either for yourself or someone else. Like I said, yeah, I'm trying to push more and more people to get out and listen to the processes known as my podcast. And again, you matter, and it's all about you and everything else and what you have to say and your ideas. Well, I have a lot of people that have been standing by to want to hear this episode for sure. It's just such an important topic. But look, the bottom line is as long as I affect or help one person, that's what matters, right? So let's get back into this. I'm going to throw some bumper music on, and I'm going to continue on the process of going down the line here with some more important information that we need to do in dealing with and trying to counteract this situation crisis known as human currency, bankrupting mankind, my episode 39. And you know what? This is episode 39, Human Currency Bankrupting Mankind, and I'll be right back.
Yes, I can see you in the well, just like a wind across the sea. We taste the brightest specimen of all the plankton that you eat. I can watch out for the weak, just might not be careful tight. But if you ever bother me, I try to listen, compromise. Build your own wealth just like everyone else.
All right. Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. Okay. So, gave a little break. It's like eating a pizza. You can't eat the pizza in one bite. And we've got more important things to cover with the human trafficking part and then also the other segments that happen on every episode. Okay? So, we're back into the seriousness, the subject matter, and everything else. And again, if this is kind of heavy for very, very young children, so I don't know if I would have younger children listening, but due to the graphic nature and information in this episode, I wish to have parental discretion advised. Again, just to make sure this is important to get out, but it may be too advanced and too intense for some listeners. Okay? Thank you. All right, so the 4 P's of trafficking: prevention, protection, prosecution, and partnership. Ways to address trafficking. Okay? Emojis used by traffickers, and this, if you see this on people, right, on the traffickers themselves, it means they're telling you that they're part of a ring doing this, or they could also be the ones they use on their victims too. So, a rose, a rosette, cherry blossom, a cherry or cherry blossom, a growing heart, an airplane, a crown, emoticons, right? That's what they would use in the process of communicating in cyber and everything else. That's a way in which they could use their special languages in order to communicate to each other. And we would not be involved in being a part of it because mostly, unless you know what you're looking for, you don't know what's going on. And so they want to use that as a deception in a way in which to communicate to themselves and deceive everyone else so they can continue to perpetuate this horror and this heinous activity that's going on. The use of a crown, especially with the initials of the captor, is a sign of ownership. Tattoos and all other types of symbols. Note: warning tips to protect yourself. Again, I kind of set those other ones in there. First, if you see something, say something. If you don't feel like you're going to bother anybody, interrupt anybody, or anything else, please, if you see something, say something, tell someone. I don't care if it's a parent. I don't care who it is or what it is, but you, by all means, please let everybody know what's going on. Scream, do what you got to do, as long as you get the point across and as long as it saves a life and keeps people safe. That's what matters. And that's, again, what I'm doing here, right? I'm hoping so. Like I said, I'm hoping as long as I can change one life or even help one person in this process, by all means, this is what I'm here for. I love it. I love every minute of it because I get a chance to do this. It's like therapy for me on this microphone, me and the mic on the mic. All right. So Here we go. Tips to protect yourself, as well as my other list I gave you. Set strict privacy settings. Beware of strange friends requests. And this is people going online and stuff. Just be careful, because there's all kinds of people out there doing horrible things. Everything from identity theft to human theft, right? Right. Set strict privacy settings. Beware of strange friend requests. Don't overshare anything. Don't give out too much information. Just make sure you are being careful and be leery of anyone and everyone. It could be anybody. You don't know what's going on. Beware of too good to be true ads, like if they're trying to entice you for money or for fame or for fortune, or they're going to make you a star. They're going to do all these wonderful things for you. You know, they're going to try and groom you into something, get you into something, and groom you into becoming a target and also becoming a victim and a slave. Flag it, don't share it, right? Know the warning signs of trafficking, like I said before. Get help or raise the alarm. Like I said, get out there, scream. I don't care what you do, but get it to where you make sure somebody knows about it. All right, top countries worst for human trafficking: North Korea, Myanmar, Burma, New Guinea, Russia, Syria, South Sudan, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. Those are the ones that are the worst countries. Note, estimated 27.6 million victims worldwide at any given time. Human trafficking prey on people of all ages, backgrounds, and nationalities, exploiting them for their own profit. Trust me, these people see you as a dollar sign. They're looking at you as an opportunity. Instead of looking at the opportunity of meeting you, it's the opportunity to use, abuse, and then sell you in any capacity they possibly can. And it's horrible, right? Okay, so these are the 3 stages of trafficking. All right, you got? You good? Okay. All right. 3 stages of trafficking. Victims are recruited. In all stages, they are transported, ways to be abducted and assault victims. Exploitation. Right. Note, 3 strategies used by human traffickers. They use control tactics, physical and emotional abuse, and threats. Isolation from friends and family, and economic abuse, meaning that they can sit there, take everything from you, and then make you have to do the enslavement and the sex trades and all this other stuff going on just for their ends, their means. They make you believe that you're going to be okay, which is freaking sick, twisted, and horrible. All right, note, average age of victims is 14. California in America. California is the worst state ranked. There's usually, on average, it's 130 victims per hour, 30 million kids, spanning 30 years, multi-billions per year, 24.9 million losing their freedom. Women and children are the most taken. And that's just horrible. But yeah, and the average age of victims is 14. About 130 people are abducted or taken per hour. And all these are horrible things, but I just want them to get out there. This needs to get out there so everybody knows that this is an important subject matter. In another episode, I might do a continuation of this podcast episode here. It might be a part 2 where I get an actual voice of someone else in perspective, maybe a female voice, maybe someone who's actually either dealt with it or had, close experiences to it. It might be a continuation of it. It doesn't matter. Every episode's an opportunity of 180 minutes of First Amendment freedom to say what you want to say. And it could be part 1, part 2, part 3. It doesn't matter. It matters that we get the subject matter out there and that you all and everyone hearing the sound of this voice has an opportunity to speak your mind about. I don't care what it is. Again, this is your arena of ideas. So, of course. All right. So, these are safety steps to know you've been trafficked. You're being trafficked. Recruiting. They're trying to recruit people, get people in a room, make you think you're famous. Hey, you want to come down? We were going to try and get some more people into into acting and other things. Or, hey, we're giving away free money, or who knows what. They'll do anything as a ploy. If they know they can lure you and recruit you, They're going to do whatever it takes to get you into a room and into a situation where they can control the narrative, take everyone, hold them all hostage, get them all trafficked and actually escorted out to where they can then shop you out to the highest bidders and also to organ harvesting and all those things. So recruiting, they're trying to recruit people, get them lured in, right? It's recruiting, luring, it's grooming, grooming / gaming, trafficking. The fourth one is immersion into control and power of human trafficking. Here's some movies to listen to. I'll go back and play this back, but it's a list of movies and stuff that I was looking up and doing the research for. I actually had someone else helping me on this one. Thanks, Deb. Yeah, she helped me. She kind of helped me in the process of doing some of this research together with me. Anyway, and Deb, she's from Pueblo. She knows who she is. Okay, movies discussing the subject matter of human trafficking. Obviously, the top one being Sound of Freedom. It just came out in 2023. There's a movie called Traffic, Traffik, that came out in 2018. Darker Side of Trafficking, Silent Cry, Bond, Brutal World of Trafficking, a movie called Trafficking, Caged No More, The Broken Rose, Beyond the Neon, 8 Days, Tricked, The Whistleblower, Sex Trafficking in America, Priceless, I Am Jane Doe, Girl Model, The Chosen Ones, The 12,000. All are from 2010 and to present. Note, deceive people of a job opportunity, love, stable life. Historically, women are the largest group affected, yet children are sadly catching up. Okay, so organ harvesting here. Usually being used from the pool of victims used during human trafficking, right? And forms of slavery. Once the operation procedure of forced organ removal is complete, victims are murdered on demand, have their organs and removed to fulfill orders that they're also trying to get money for it. Like I said, they're taking a human body, treating it like a carcass and using every single thing they possibly can. If it's worth intrinsic value, if it's worth money on the black market and all these other dark places, guess what? They're going to sit there and use that and take it from you. And take it from you and not care two sniffs or even a blink of an eye about anything, right? Okay, so basically, before the dark web and in underground and backdoor hospitals, doctors are paid handsomely to conduct operations for hire. Also called organ trafficking, it's the lowest of low ways to exploit victims to the nth degree, to even death for financial gain. Note, all of the rules of all trafficking are to be followed as a horrific warning to make sure you don't fall victim to a crime starting in 1954 to present. So since 1954 to present, this has been an issue. And I mean, there's kind of relating to this human organ, the organ harvesting part. What you've got morgues that are taking victims and taking the organs out of the bodies before they put them in the coffins, or even if they put the coffins in there at all. They're piled up in shallow graves. You've got all these horrible things happening. You've got hospitals where people that are obviously out of the view of everything else, and it's a transfer where they're passing away. Well, they're also using the hospitals as this. They're using morgues and all these other options and avenues and channels to try and again further this multi-billion-dollar situation dealing with human trafficking and organ trafficking and all this crazy stuff. All right, movies. Okay, I already read the movies. Movies themed for organ harvesting. So these are movies about organ harvesting. Ready? Harvest of Fear, Alita, Battle Angel, Repo Man, the remake, Crimes of the Future, The Island, Don't Don't Breathe 1 and 2, Never Let Me Go, Turistas, and The Harvest, 1993. Jose Ferrer's in that movie. I saw that movie. That was a good movie. Again, a good depiction of what was going on. And again, this is just part of it. But I mean, still, you could just, even way back then, you could see what's going on with this process. Note, after all stats, many never leave their captors, like Stockholm Syndrome, because they have become dependent on them for money and other things, and have been away from common surroundings and family, friends, go to the ones holding them against their will is all they know. And again, the ones holding the captors and everything else, it's a fear factor. They're trying to let you know that if you go out beyond them, you're not going to survive out there. You need to depend on them. And isn't that sick, twisted, and sad? It is. All right. Okay, so here's another note for you. Now take out your ID or license, look at it, because for the best intentions, you have an option to donate, right, your organs for the survival of others. You really do. You go in, something happens to you, you get transported, and you basically don't survive, but yet your organs can survive. But the sad part is that now with this organ harvesting stuff going on, I mean, is this really happening? Is it yes or no? Answer the question yourself. See what you think, because I don't know. I thought about this while doing this episode. Donate your organs for the survival of others and for all the right reasons. There are stories about transplants for eyes, heart, lungs, kidneys, all international organs saving the day, right? The other side of taking great ideas and using them for mankind are used for what? Note, there have been 84% increase of trafficking since 2011, and 64% of them are not prior convictions, right? Online scams were a major reason for men and boys numbers look to get even worse. Okay? Props to Natalia. All right. There's a girl named Natalia. She's from Colorado Springs. She came up with that little idea, so I threw her name out there. Props to her on that little part there. Natalia, I hope you're listening. Again, Natalia's from Colorado Springs, Colorado. She knows who she is. Awesome. Okay, so President Biden's open border policy. You know, I have issues against this. And look, if you're from the country and you want to believe we have our citizenship and we have our cultural language borders and all these other things, I'm not going to get in this huge politic battle here. This is dealing with the human currency bankrupting mankind, episode 39. But look, President Biden's open door policy, he signed into fruition, has really made the human trafficking market skyrocket. I mean, skyrocket. And since Biden has been in office, starting his term, over 8 million people have crossed our borders and gotten in here. And I'm not begrudging anybody. I'm just saying this is a way in which it just makes it easy for the coyotes and these human trafficking groups and all this other stuff to get all their stuff done even easier than it was before. And I'm not condoning anything. I'm just saying that it just hasn't helped, right? The other issues with a open border is that we have terrorism, drugs in crisis, and also a complete, utter drain on our system. So anyway, out of the politics, look, it's allowing these people to come over here and make it a lot easier for themselves to do what they're doing to the tune of multiple billions of dollars every single year. All right. So Tim Tebow takes his faith and status to great use to help combat the war on human trafficking. Rescue Them is a program by Tim Tebow, the Tim Tebow Foundation. As often as every 2 minutes around the world, a life is being bought and sold and used as a commodity, kind of currency. Can't give complete statistics yet. 40 million are trapped in human trafficking to the tune of 150 million annually. Sadly, America leads all other nations in consumption, meaning the people being trafficked, right? Traffic in all 50 states. Note, 1 in 4 victims are children. 2 in 10 victims are female. So the most vulnerable among us are the greatest targets. Tim Tebow, amazing in his efforts to help turn the tide of this global epidemic and crimes against humanity. Basically, if you don't know who Tim Tebow is, Tim Tebow had played sports. He's huge in religion. He was overseas, and he was overseas and helping in with the church and everything else overseas as a missionary. And he was over there helping, and even down to giving birth and all these other things he's done. He's always given of his life all the time to want to make sure he can use whatever stature and things he has in a process in which to help others, to both A, recognize, and B, help others in this process, especially with this program. All right. So anyway, that's a little bit of information behind Tim Tebow. Amazing in the efforts to help turn the tide of this global epidemic and crimes against humanity. He has championed many causes with faith-based backing over the years. It is great he's focusing on this, to me, top priority, A block. In a matter which seems to be glossed over by the powers that be, and not enough to move the needle of moral conscience and integrity, fighting for human life. Completely. I just, like I said, that's what matters most, is that we get the word out there, and someone like Tim Tebow can get this and back this. This is amazing. It's great work, and hopefully it can turn the tide and help bring some of these numbers down. Okay, so there's that part of it. Now, this goes out to Danica. She's from Pueblo. She knows who she is. She is listening to the podcast, and she's also had some great ideas to kind of add to this episode. Thanks, Danica. She's from Pueblo. She knows who she is, Pueblo, Colorado. Anyway, Danica, you know who you are. Thank you. All right, so she brought to my attention that hospitals, right? They're harvesting organs, seen on the surface to be a place of care and concern for human life. Or is it? There are reports that at multiple states and venues, as I've always said, if you're never trying to find the truth, follow the money, right? I've always said that. If you're trying to find out the truth about something, follow the money. In this case, in the millions, at the expense of loved ones who can't speak for themselves or decide what to do. Well, the bodies pose a great opportunity to take from the victims, deploy cover-up tactics, and profit without concern of the next of kin. Against the law, so against the law. Completely, and steps needed to be enforced. Federal laws with all the extreme with extreme prejudice. Hospitals are usually shelter in place, safety, healing, rehab, counseling, and other medical services, right? Right. All right. So, again, the border crisis and human trafficking on steroids and the global impact this epidemic is causing everyone in the world, the problem that is now magnified to the tune of approximately 130 people per hour, 1 million kids per year. Lord, God, sit there for a moment. Average age of 14 become groomed, manipulated, and used till their value is better dead than alive, with a bullet to the head to harvest every organ, blood, and all things to push the machine, dehumanizing our society, families, countries, and every walk of life on planet Earth. Yes. Yes, I have provided facts, figures, information in this episode to sound this very troubling alarm and a call to yourself to do your part. The problem with the border is actually a multifaceted dumpster fire, as I like to call it. It is disguised as a country's necessity to have a identity, right? Because you're getting the following when it comes to the border. I mean, you're letting everybody across and everything else. Well, I mean, it's above and beyond human trafficking. This is just a horrible pouring of unvetted people that we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they could be there for the wrong reasons, but there are great people that come over that are here for the right reasons and want to be a big part and enrich our country and become citizens, right? Okay, so anyway, because you're getting the following, here we go. Human trafficking, terrorism, drug smuggling, and more pouring over the border on the daily are still out there among us, yet the numbers of victims remain on the rise, and the traffic rings, plots, and traps become more sophisticated and diabolical, all in the name of destroying lives, families, and hope for so many future generations and dreams. In heinous and horrific executions, victims become a body count, all in the name of multiple billions, all in the name of multiple billions, a industry preying on the lambs of our society. In quotes, I came up with it. As I see it, and maybe even as you as well, sounding almost like a script to a horror movie in a surreal world of the macabre, sadistic, horrific world behind the camera. Stop. Wait, you're telling me that this is real life, raw, visceral, and at the expense of life, with the intent is to destroy all that gets in their way and decimate all over the world, affect all walks of life, age, gender, demographic, religion, etc., aren't immune to this paralyzing holocaust of humanity? No, it's not. And it's horrible. All right, so I'm going to come up with I have some closing thoughts on this right here, and then we'll get into the other parts of the podcast. All right, so again, this is a long way coming. It's me doing research. It's all these different things. But, I mean, like I said, it's if I'm able to change one life or get someone else to realize that they can save their own lives or somebody else, and this can help anybody with information, websites, phone numbers, and everything else, I've done my job, and I've done what I really set out to do when it came to this mind-numbing and heart-stopping situation, dealing with this horrible plague of what's happening all over the world. All right. So, closing thoughts. Again, this is me kind of putting a bow on this. Not really a bow, but just kind of tying it in, getting some closure. And again, thank you all of you for being here and listening. And if you're not listening, someone else can at least tell you about it. Then it's a big help, and it's a way in which for everyone to process the situation that's becoming everyone's situation, problem, and crisis. Okay, there are hard and tough issues, problems, and heinous acts of humanity since the beginning of time, right? Sadistic, criminal, and large swaths of people have met their demise on their own terms, in control or at the hands of war and others, with terrible results and outcomes. This is just the worst and growing in numbers. Human currency / trafficking is rapidly growing as the top reason for not to travel or trusting anyone or anything anywhere you go. Doesn't matter. If it's online, it's on your phone, whatever's going on, it's a reason. Robbing you of freedom and liberty here in America. And applying even more doubt, keeping your head on a swivel, doing the due diligence, follow all protocols, calling the warnings, signs, right? See something, say something, etc. What an eye-opening fact on the amount of movies while researching this episode. I'm sure if you look up books, there are many broaching this subject matter. If you have them, tell me about them. Tell us about them, let me add them, or whatever I'm going to do. But anyway, I constantly tell all my podcast is experience in awareness upon the subject matter of whatever it might be about. Even the segments are that as well to a degree. This has been a rather tough pill to swallow, considering the subject matter and how vitally important it is It's a rampant and dire problem, sorry. It affects mankind, not caring your socioeconomic status, how many social media friends you have, how many follows, likes, your security, or your security preparedness. You could be the securest person on the planet, and it could still happen to you or happen to somebody you know. And even the level of awareness and training upon what to do in case of an emergency. There is not ever 100% of anything. So take this episode as a wake-up call. Those who won't listen to this episode, inform them that human trafficking and currency is real. Everyone affected by it, and we all can make a difference, starting with you. Wow, it's heavy, man. Again, the subject matter is tough, and I don't think it's there or ready for anybody. Really, I don't. I wasn't even really ready. I mean, no one's ever ready for the fact that this can actually happen to any one person. It could be, a turn of events in 10 seconds, 1 second. You could be turning away, and next thing you know, you have a baby in a stroller and the baby's taken or abducted. Or you're in a store with your kids and you don't have no chain of custody. They're not by your side. Next thing you know, they're not by anyone's side. They're gone. They are being whisked away and taken for what we just explained in this episode. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to do some, the comedy corner, some plugs, props, and shout outs for DJ Shield. Again, I'm going to give props out to that wonderful sandwich shop here in Pueblo. That's, just down the street. It starts with an S, ends with a Y. I'll explain. And then of course the mic check and remember the legends. I'm still doing the same process, but it's a matter of, this is heavy. This is a tough one. I think we may need a few of these jokes, and it's no joke what I'm talking about, but it's a little levity and it's a little opportunity to hear something else other than the heavy. So basically I'm going to go to some bumper music right now and then we'll get into it. All right, you hear that? Well, again, this is episode 39. Human currency, bankrupting mankind. We'll be right back. All right. We're back. And now we're going to go into the wonderful comedy corner. And like I said, that was heavy. That's, again, subject matter that's heavy, and it's not suitable for a younger audience, really. I mean, if you want to tell them about it, about the ways and the warning signs and everything else, that's fine. But, some of the stuff's tough to take. And if you're a little kid, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow in reality, but it is true. You can let your kids listen to it. I just want to give that dire warning to where, there's an understanding there that, it's important. Okay? All right. So, of course, I've got the dad jokes. I've got the generator, so of course that's what I do. Okay, so are we ready? We're never ready for anything, but here we go. Why do bees go to the bathroom? It's the BP station. What do you call a bee that lives in America? Anyone? Oh, and before I finish this joke. If you have any other funny jokes that you want to get out, I give credit for those. Like you've heard names people referenced here. Whatever I do, look, it's just your podcast. I'm the host and creator, but guess what? It's your podcast. You come up with the ideas of different segments of different things, even something as a snippet or a passage or a statistic, even on one of the episodes. It's you guys matter. It's your name out there. Okay. All right. So here we go. Oh, I'm sorry. What was it? Oh yeah. What do you call a bee that lives in America? A USB. Right? I was wondering why the Frisbee was getting bigger. Oh, dramatic pause. Then it hit me. What's the difference between a hippo? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One is really heavy. The other is a little lighter. All right. That's enough comedy there. Or my poor failed attempt at it. Right? That's my poor failed attempt at it. Okay. So let's see here. That one's done. This one's done. Marking as I go. Sorry, guys. All right. Okay. All right. So now we'll get into, I've got a couple things. I got some plugs, props, and shout outs to do. And, so let's do those, and then I'll get into the mic check, and then the Remember the Legends. Okay, so anyway, there's a place called, it starts with an S, ends with a Y. It's also what they use for transportation underground. And anyway, there you go, guys. There is a, here in Pueblo, on Abriendo, there's a cool S, begins with an S, ends with a Y, shop, right there on the hill. I want to give all of them over there plugs, props, and shout outs, and a big thank you. They do a great job there. They have some ideas. They've even helped hand out some of my cards pertaining to the podcast, and just love them. I wanted to give them a promotion. I can't exactly mention the name of their company. You can figure it out. S starts with an S, ends with a Y. About them, right? Right. Okay, so that's that one. And what I've got is I've got a commercial read for DJ Shield. He's a wonderful DJ, previous military, served in the military. DJ Shield is his professional name as a DJ, and I'll be going into a read on him. But first, I'm going to go into, and this is been back in September when this actually happened. But you know what? It's important. This is Marissa and Taylor Peterson wedding. All right. Big shout out to them. Hope they're listening. I hope they hear this part because it's endearing. It's wonderful. I went to their wedding. It was over in Montana, and had a great time, and I got to see two really, really nice, great people join together in matrimony. And like I said, I told you, Marissa, I told you I'd get this one put out. And then Taylor, I don't know if you even want this out or whatever, but guess what? It's out there now. It's 12 platforms to listen all over the world. And now you're recorded for posterity, my friend. All right, sir. So it's the Marissa and Taylor Peterson wedding. A big shout out to them. On September 9th, 2023, Taylor and Marissa Peterson were married at 3 p.m. that Saturday, nestled at the Big Creek Road Ranch in Immigrant, Montana. By the way, miles and miles and miles away from where Yellowstone was basically recorded and everything. It's down from there. You know, that's a ways down. That's a different story for a different day. But anyway, Immigrant, very beautiful, amazing place to be. All right. So, a beautiful, picturesque, and lush valley at the base of the Rocky Mountains. Picture the Dutton Ranch in the show Yellowstone. Now add a calming quiet of nature's sounds and sights, a heartwarming, intimate, and rustic setting, played a wonderful backdrop that Saturday. The ceremony went without a hitch, enduring rain and hail to join Marissa and Taylor Peterson for the first time. The reception was exceptional, a little alliteration there, with a great spread of food, and company by both families was great. Music killed it, accentuating and framing the festivities that night, the first night together for the rest of their lives. Congratulations to Marissa and Taylor Peterson on the journey together down the twisting, turning road of life. Again, I had a great time there. It was wonderful. It was grand. I'm so happy for Marissa and Taylor. They just really look so good together, and from here, from that first day forth to the rest of their lives, they have an opportunity to have a great one. And Marissa, I told you I'd put this out. So again, be listening, and I don't know how to if I can get a hold of you or not, but anyway, hope you're listening and hope you enjoy your little read on your wedding. All right. This man needs no introduction because he does his own introductions. He doesn't need a hype man. He is hype, and he's all other things wonderful. Who I'm speaking of, he presides here in Pueblo, Colorado, but he really goes everywhere because wherever music goes, this man seems to follow. I checked him out, and there was an autism awareness in September, and I went there, and yeah, the event was very important for autism. I mean, not autism. It's not autism. Sorry, that's another disease of another kind that also needs to be cured, and it's also a disability and things. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Alzheimer's. Over at the there's an Alzheimer's walk and everything over in September. DJ Shield was there. He was DJing the entire event, and he was amazing. He was live. He was amazing. He was larger than life and all things grand in this process. And I threw him a few of my cards and told him I would be doing a commercial read. He gave me the okay for a commercial read for his company. So again, DJ Shield is his company. All right. So, and some of this writing in here and stuff is me just kind of filling in the gaps and creating this commercial read for DJ Shield and all that good stuff. So here we go. All right. So DJ Shield, enhancing your event with the shield in quotes, and music to protect your party. Owner and proprietor, James Flowers, mobile DJ. A veteran-owned business, thanks for your service. DJ Shield is a high-energy music extravaganza. Behind the velvet smooth voice of James Flowers, personable, professional, and entertainer extraordinaire. Smiles and music savvy makes this a must-have for all things gatherings, wedding receptions, office parties, church events, military ball and galas, and more. When it comes to fun and good times, through the conduit of music, DJ Shield delivers timeless songs of yesteryear to the hits of today. With his brand mixing magic, and hype man persona, creates memories to last a lifetime. How to get a DJ Shield? Do the following. Phone number 719-297-1576. Again, to get a DJ Shield with a phone call, 719-297-1576. Email djshield01@gmail.com. djshield01@gmail.com. Facebook, it's DJ Shield. It's just DJ Shield. Twitter /X @DJShield01. Based out of Pueblo, Colorado, mobile and ready to rock the party. In quotes. DJ Shield is your go-to for all party music needs. DJ Shield, check him out. see what's going on. Hey, I don't really need to speak for him. I'm just throwing it out there and doing a big plug and a shout out to him and how great he did and what you can do with this. You listen, if you're listening and you need this stuff done, get a hold of him, get at him, because I'll tell you what, he does a great job, and he would definitely be the icing on the cake at your party, so to speak. No pun intended, but truly, he would do a great job for you. All right. You know, that's the sounder for what? That's the sounder for the mic check. All right. So basically this mic check, I went and saw her in concert, and this is earlier. This is in the month of September early. And it was a state fair here in Colorado, down here in Pueblo, Colorado. Anyway, so Pat Benatar was there. Love her. Think she's a great legend of music. She finally got put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Anyway, she is today's mic check, or this episode's mic check, episode 39. Human Currency, Bankrupting Mankind. This is the mic check. All right. So Patricia May Giraldo, a.k.a. Pat Benatar, is an American rock singer. Has 2 multi-platinum albums, 5 platinum albums, 15 Billboard Top 40 singles. Born January 10th, 1953, has sold over 35 million albums worldwide. 4-time Grammy Award winner, made the Hall of Fame in 2022. Finally. Really? To me, she's a great vocalist. She should have been in way long time ago, right? Way long time ago. She should have been a part of the Hall of Fame way long time ago. All right, anyway, so enough of that. Crimes of Passion, most popular album, reached number 2 on the chart. To me, just push play albums are Crimes of Passion and Precious Time. Both. A string of hits, a passion in her voice, her vocals, and funny in the 80s. Watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. All the girls either dressed like Pat Benatar or Madonna. Yeah, and that's a whole nother story for another day. Madonna, another great female vocalist icon. In case you didn't know. And if you did, great, welcome to the party. Okay, so anyway, basically that's the funny stuff there. Anyway, classically trained in theater and opera vocals, made her a smash hit in rock and roll, and really a pioneer with a few others in shaping music of today. Yeah, I can rattle off songs with too much radio play and saturation. Do yourself a favor. Yeah, you can be like everyone else and claim you listened to the greatest hits. Okay, everyone can do that. Anyone can. Listen to the albums in their entirety. Crimes of Passion and Precious Time. She's an amazing singer-songwriter, inspiring fans around the world and all generations of yesteryear and then to come. Because her music's timeless. It's amazing. And she's always been, just to me, just a quintessential, amazing female vocalist and performer. She just is. That's why she got the mic check. Completely. So again, check out Pat Benatar. I mean, I'm trying to hit these different artists. If you have other ideas on either Remember the Legends or in the mic check, let me know. That's what I'm here for. I want, your guys' ideas and things. I can come up with them, but guess what? This is your arena of ideas. I'm just the host, creator, Mike Kingston. So you guys, do me a favor. You guys got another act or performer you want to have read. So instead of, let's say this, okay, and this is the real reason why I do this. Thanks to Nick. He's from Pueblo. He came up with the mic check. Anyway, the biggest thing about it is what? Is the fact that I would go out and I see these younger people, and no offense, but I would see younger people or anyone out with a t-shirt on of a performer, and all of a sudden they know everything about that performer. Well, guess what? You don't. So, and I don't know everything either. So this gives me a chance and you a chance to revisit and understand who these actual artists are that sing and have performances. Well, you know what that sounder is. If you've listened to any one of the episodes I've done before, that is Remember the Legends. And today, it's a sports legend, icon, actor. I mean, he's done many things. He's known as Dion. Yes, he's got kind of a huge coming home and all these other things going on with him, but Deion Sanders is remember the legend. Definitely a legend in both the two disciplines of sports, in baseball and in football. And trust me, every time he ever said that he could do anything, he backed it up with his actions and with his abilities and this amazing natural talent that this guy had. I put him up there with like Bo Jackson as a pro. Okay. Anyway, he's now coaching the CU Buffaloes here in the state of Colorado. You know, he really doesn't need a walk up. He doesn't need further ado. He doesn't need a hype man. The man needs nothing. Simply is Neon Dion, one of the greatest athletes in the history of being athletic and being an athlete. Okay, so Remember the Legends today is Deion Sanders, this episode. Okay? Deion Sanders, like Bo Jackson, as a pro, two-sport athlete, football and baseball. He won 2 Super Bowls, and appeared in a World Series. Sometimes he would play a baseball game, then hop onto a plane, this is when he's a pro, and suit up and play for the Falcons football team. So he played for the Atlanta Braves and he played for the Atlanta Falcons. He kept it real in the state of Georgia, didn't he? Only athlete to appear in a World Series and Super Bowl, born Deion Lewin Sanders, August 6, 1967. His nickname was as big and as large as life as his playing in games. He was quick, fast, elusive, a true competitor, and anything he does, prime time. Prime time or Neon Dion is two of the main terms that went under, because he would show up when the lights were the brightest and he would just do amazing things. Meaning under the lights, in the grandest of stages, he would show up big. In football, he was a shutdown corner, taking away half the field. Also was a killer on returns on punts. Baseball was a killer on stolen bases and defensive skills. He's been now taking his talents to coaching, inspiring a new generation with his religious and legend status abilities to motivate all who will listen, literally and figuratively. Coaching now for the college CU, Colorado University Buffs in Boulder, Colorado. In college, he went to Florida State, played for Bobby Bowden, rest his soul, who would be proud of what Prime Time is doing to teach, coach, influence, and impact so many future generations positively. Definitely. All right. To wrap a bow on this, again, it went long, really long, but you know what? The bottom line is that this had to get out there. It was weighing heavy on me, and I wanted to get this out there, and I also needed to get a podcast episode done anyway. But basically, again, you can get back at me on the Remember Legends, the jokes, everything in the podcast is open opportunity for anyone to speak their mind about, say something, you want to add something, you want to add to another episode, you want to create an episode, it doesn't matter. This is your podcast. Just remember, Arena of Ideas is your podcast, and it's your living, breathing opportunity in the form of a podcast to listen, to come up with ideas, and hopefully in the future have more than just my voice behind the microphone. Have other people's voices in conversation on any range and multitude of things to talk about. So, anyway, basically, the ways in which you can get me again is texting me with the phone number that you have there. If you look up my information, my bio, it gives you the phone number. Then I've also got Michael Kingston 723 at Yahoo, right? It's a way to talk to. Again, if this is your first time listening and you haven't heard anything else but this, I want to welcome you to the Arena of Ideas and to, I call you out there, all my family and friends. You guys out there are all my family and friends, and that's how I look at this whole thing. And listening and being a part of the process of this podcast, I look at all of you like family and friends. So if this is your first time listening, I want to welcome you to the Arena of Ideas. If you've come back, I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this process and helping this get going and become a larger, bigger opportunity to get it out there for everyone to hear. And hopefully one day it all happens. But anyway, I want to, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you've come back and you're returning back and you're listening to other episodes, I want to thank you for your time, your energy, and being here, and appreciate everything you have to say and do. And that's everybody out there. Don't think for a minute that this is going to be the only issue talking about things that need to be talked about, because it's not. But it's important. And again, if anyone can be changed in the process of this whole thing from either the situation or running away and not being involved or having to communicate with either the website or anything else, please, by all means, thank you for being here. Until next time, this has been your host, Mike Kingston of the AOI Podcast, your podcast. Have the best the rest of your day, and until next time, actually, sorry, that's not supposed to go that way. My bad.